All right, so my fool's gold for week 7, and this one hurts me. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. And this is Michael Pittman Jr. of the Indianapolis Colts. Justin, I love this guy. You love him too. He's a beast. I think he's, by the end of this year, I think we're going to be like, wow, Michael Pittman's a back end wide receiver one. I personally still feel that way. But what I will say is this week, and I'm not being biased because he's playing the San Francisco 49ers. I just think this is going to be a low scoring game, a low volume game. And look, they played Houston last week, the Colts did. And Houston on Yahoo is 28th against, or the pass is 28th against them. So for some reason, receivers haven't been able to get it done against Houston, which is surprising. But Michael Pittman, I mean, we know Houston is not a good team. And I don't know why Michael Pittman had 3 targets, 2 catches for 35 yards. Coming off of that game, and then we saw the Arizona Cardinals game with the San Francisco 49ers back in week 5. And that was just a slugfest and a very low-scoring game. Neither team could get it going. I think it's going to be a very similar game script to that in this game. And look, this can come to bite me. I would not be surprised at all if the Colts just have nothing going and they have to rely on Michael Pittman. But I would just, and this is tough because we talked about all the bye weeks and all the replacements. If you probably are starting Michael Pittman Jr. if you have him. I'm pretty sure most people are. But a lot of people play in 10-team leagues. That's the normal casual size. And while there are a lot of bye weeks, there are some teams who aren't dealing with bye weeks. It just happened to be the case. In one of my 10-team leagues, I have Najee Harris and Josh Allen on a bye week, but other than that, like the rest of my team is ready to go. So I'm starting Jalen Waddle against Atlanta over Michael Pittman Jr. So that's giving you an example. I would rather start Jalen Waddle against Atlanta, where I think it's going to be a high-scoring shootout, rather than start Michael Pittman Jr. in this game that I'm projecting to be a low-scoring game. And does that make sense, Justin? Well, I know most people can't bench Michael Pittman Jr., but in that scenario specifically, I am.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to follow a trend, if you think Hilton backs him down, if you think they've just fully embraced JT, I can see that. I can also see him popping a 50-yard touchdown, but you don't bet on that, So, I understand that pick.
Yeah, definitely. And again, this is one of those, like I said, it's not necessarily you must bench, but I would just mentally prepare yourself a little bit there for Michael Pittman Jr.